This is a WWN Publishing Group recording. Copyright 2017, all rights reserved. This is an abridged version of Hot Georgia Rein by Martha Sweeney to make the story appropriate for all listeners on YouTube. Read to you by the author. If you want to read the complete story, you can find the ebook or paperback online. Links are provided below in the description. Chapter 3, Ivy. Yes, Mama, I'm on the plane, I confirm, as I try to carry my bag through the aisle while also holding onto my phone between my shoulder and ear. My other hand has my purse and jacket, which makes it challenging to take at the moment. You sure? She checks. Ouch, the stranger in front of me says when I collide into her. Sorry, I apologize, while trying to back up a little. Mama, hold on. A man about my age offers to assist me with my bag to get it in the compartment above my seat. He flashes a sexy, flirtatious smile, but I don't bother to flirt back. Thank you, I say, offering some bit of attention for his attempts. Once I get into the window seat in the first class, I return my phone to my ear. Mama, you still there? I check. Still here, she confirms. What was all of that commotion? Me, getting on the plane like I said I am, I remind, placing my purse under the seat in front of me. Tell me again why you aren't bringing my grandbaby with you, she pushes. Mama, I don't have time to go over this with you again. Besides, I need to call Cece to make sure they're good. I've never been away from him like this before, I state, feeling myself starting to panic at the realization that I've never been more than 24 hours away from my son. Go call Cece, Mama directs. Your father and I will be at the airport waiting for you. Please don't make a spectacle, I beg, lowering my head to my hand. Why would we make a spectacle? Since when have we ever made a spectacle, Mama goads. Every single time you come up to visit, I recollect. That's only because you haven't come back to see us for just over 3 years, Mama recounts. Forcing your elderly parents to have to be patted down by the evil TSA and fly possibly to our deaths. You're safer in a plane than a car, I state, unamused by her melodramatic performance. Oh, yeah, right, Mama giggles. Okay, go call your boy and we'll see you soon. Thanks, Mama, I say. Love you. Love you too, she returns before hanging up. I text Cece, knowing that if I get her on the phone, we won't stop talking, and that there's a really good chance that I will get off the plane willingly to keep talking and never make it down to Georgia. It takes Cece only about a minute to reply back that they're doing fine and that my son has already forgotten all about me. Before I get a chance to complain, she says she's just kidding, followed by a kissy face emoji, and then sends a picture of her and my little man smiling. I write that I'll call as soon as I land and that I'll talk to him tonight before bed. Despite the fact that I've flown in the past, this time is the hardest since I have to leave my 2.5-year-old son behind. It's for the best in many ways to protect him from all of the drama in my tiny hometown. It's not the best for me since he's my rock out of everything that is my life, even more so than my supportive family. He's what's kept me sane since leaving Blackburn. I'm able to take a small nap on the plane, which makes the just over 2-hour trip more bearable. I check some work emails, and then while I have a small snack, I look at photos of my son on my phone. He's the best thing that has happened to me out of all of the craziness that is my life. Getting out of Georgia with a full scholarship for business and marketing is on the list of great things that have happened to me, but deciding to go also led to many interesting life decisions to get me where I am today. There are a few decisions I regret, but having my son is not one of them. I always felt stifled in our little hometown and desperately wanted to get out and travel the world, wanting a job that allowed me to do so. I jumped at the first chance that gave me the opportunity, a full ride to a New York State college. I think it was the start to how I lost Henry. In fact, I know it. Henry and I were 2 peas in a pod since kindergarten. Our schools have always been small, with a town population of just barely 800, and with us being only 2 of a class of 20 all through our primary and secondary schooling in Georgia, I guess it was only natural for us to be drawn together. As we got older, we knew why most of the other kids treated us differently. We weren't purebred like the rest of them. Henry and I were different enough with our Cherokee side, and it was always more prominent in the summers with how we tanned. There were a few other kids in our town who weren't purebreds either. Henry's older brother Davis and my younger brother Grady were 2 of them. Tyrell and his brother Vernon, who were predominantly darker skinned, were the other 2 until we hit high school. By then, more non-purebreds had been moving into the neighborhood, which excited us minorities and did the exact opposite for the rest. The town quickly became a melting pot of races, whites, blacks, Hispanics, as well as those of us with Cherokee blood running through our veins. I remember how Henry and I were inseparable when we were little. His brother, Davis, was responsible for watching us when we left the houses, while my little brother, Grady, always tagged along. I loved my little brother, but he did have a tendency to be bratty from time to time. I especially remember one day because that was when we were 10 and playing tag late at night. When Henry was coming after me, I shouted, miss me, now you gotta kiss me." It wasn't the response I expected. I don't think it was a response any 10-year-old girl would expect from her best friend. We never spoke of it, and I didn't think anything of it. It wasn't until when we were older when I remembered the first time our lips connected, because it felt completely different when Henry kissed me the second time when we were 16. I didn't know it was going to happen, and I've never been the same since. "Race you to the water," shouted Tyrell as soon as his feet hit the pavement of the parking lot where Davis always parked at the lake. "Keep an eye out for animals," Davis warned as they locked up the front of his truck while the rest of us leaped out of the back and grabbed the cooler and bags. "I got it," Henry offered, taking my bag from me and slinging it over his shoulder before I got the chance to object. "What am I supposed to carry?" I asked, feeling awkward suddenly. "Just walk with me and let the rest of them race," Henry suggested as he picked up the cooler. "You got it?" Davis checked. "Yep," Henry confirmed. "I'll go ahead and make sure they don't get attacked or do anything stupid then," Davis offered. "You two good?" "Yep," Henry confirmed. "Okay," Davis returned, though he was eyeing the two of us. "Want to come with me, Ivy?" "Nah," I refused politely. "Someone's got to make sure Henry doesn't eat all the food before we get to the lake." Davis nodded and then jogged off down the path. "He likes you, you know," Henry blurted when we made it to the top of the path. "Yeah," I agree, "as a friend." "No," Henry chuckled oddly. "He likes you more than a friend." "You're full of it," I accused, suddenly feeling really nervous by the idea and how I'm supposed to act around him from now on. "Am not," Henry defended. "I'm 16 and barely a woman," I stated. "Besides, there are prettier girls in school than me." "Like who?" Henry gasped. "Like Juliana," I remarked. "She's pretty," Henry confirmed. "See?" I pointed out, not surprised by him agreeing. Most of the boys in school thought she was pretty. There were even rumors of some of them getting to a few bases with her, too. I didn't know what that exactly meant, not until Mama filled me in on the details when I had repeated something to her one day about what the boys had said about Juliana. I tried not to judge Juliana after Mama explained, but I never did hear it from her whether or not the rumors were true. She and I were friends, to some extent, but not good enough friends that I felt comfortable questioning her. "But you're prettier," Henry added. "What?" I asked, suddenly more nervous by our conversation. Henry turned and walked toward me. "You have a better personality," he mentioned, "and you're still prettier, inside and out." I felt my cheeks flush, and I was suddenly unsure of what to say or how to act. "Stop messing with me," I declared, punching his shoulder. "You know I don't like it when anyone teases me." "I'm not teasing you," he replied. "Yes, you are," I corrected, getting angry. "You know what happens to Grady when he teases me. He gets the shit kicked out of him along with anyone else who does," Henry laughed, "and they deserved it every time." "Damn straight," I stated proudly. "So if you don't want the shit kicked out of you, you better stop teasing me." "You're still pretty even when you threaten me," Henry laughed, placing the cooler and my bag down on the ground. "This is your last warning, Henry Lee Rein," I cautioned. "Or what?" he goaded. The heat in my cheeks altered from embarrassment to irritation, and I lunged at him. For as skilled as I was with taking down my little brother to the ground, into a hold that could cause him to beg to be released, or beating down any of the boys from town who tried to mess with me, Henry put up a better fight. Maybe I also didn't push as hard either, but I'm not quite sure. I can't remember. However, somehow Henry ended up tripping me, and he landed on top of me with my back to the ground. "Stop teasing me, Henry," I warned, desperately trying to break free from his hold. "I would if I was teasing you," Henry claimed. Before I got the chance to say anything else, Henry's lips were pressed against mine. They were soft, and the emotions and sensations that flooded my body surprised me. Henry released my mouth and stared at me for several long seconds. My chest heaved and the heat in my cheeks turned into something I've never felt before. Henry hesitated, but only for a brief second before his mouth returned to mine. That time, my eyes closed and I willingly kissed him back. Right as his tongue was slipping into my mouth a second time, Henry jolted up to his feet. "Everything okay?" Davis's voice called out suddenly. "Yeah," Henry claimed. Henry took my hand and pulled me to a standing position. My eyes scanned for Davis as my hands frantically wiped the dirt off my body. "Ivy just tripped," Henry lied as Davis appeared from around the bend. You okay? Davis asked sweetly, rushing toward me. Yep, I confirmed, brushing myself off more. I just wasn't looking where I was going. Davis looked back and forth between Henry and me. Here, he said, offering me his arm. I'll help you the rest of the way. I'm good, I replied, preferring to walk with Henry. I'd rather make sure you don't fall again, Davis proclaimed. I don't want your parents getting mad at me or anything. I looked to Henry for a second. Sure, I replied hesitantly, unable to find an appropriate excuse to decline politely. Davis took my arm and started to lead me slowly down the path. I gazed back at Henry, unsure of what to make of what just happened and if I should be letting Davis assist me. Henry offered a smile, but there was something in his gaze I couldn't make out. It took only a few weeks after that incident for me to realize that there was a little bit of jealousy and anger in Henry's eyes. Ma'am, an unfamiliar voice calls, pulling me back to the present. I reply, unsure if it was meant for me. Ma'am, your tray table needs to go back up. The pilot is getting ready to land the plane, she states with a sweet smile. Oh, yeah, I say as my hands rush to give her my now empty glass. Sorry. No worries, she says, before slipping behind me to check on another passenger. A chill runs down my spine, and I find myself with an uncontrollable, giddy smile on my face. I can only imagine how pathetic I may have looked to the flight attendant. If my emotions for Henry are this strong, I'll need to keep myself in check when we finally come face to face. I can't make myself look like a fool to a grieving widower, to his family, or to anyone who will be around. The smile on my face falters and the joy turns to darkness. What if Henry doesn't want to see me? What if there isn't a second chance for us? I think I've made a mistake and need to get off the plane and get back to New York as soon as possible. This is the end of this chapter. Thank you for listening. I hope you're enjoying the story so far. To read the full, unabridged version, you can find a link in the description below. To find out about new releases before the general public, be sure to subscribe to my newsletter. You'll find a link also in the description. Also, to be notified when the next chapter is published, make sure you subscribe to my channel.